One of the things that in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict that doesn't get talked about a lot is that the Israeli settlers, they're called, that are there, are trying to illegally take Palestinian land and home, and they claim it's their land, they can do what they want. And the contradiction is that, and I'll show you photos later about this, that many of them, they use the Holocaust and those sort of things as justification for their should be allowed to do whatever they want. But most of them, a lot of them are from New York, you know, and they're kind of an extremist, and they really don't have the long-term connection as Jews. And it's a really crazy contradiction to the situation. So here, for example, we have a group of settlers. You can see these are mostly young guys that are doing this. And this is a Palestinian home. They had set fire to the Palestinian family's cars, had beaten the family, threatened to kill them, and forced them out of their home. And then they took over their home. And the idea was, and they did it somewhat, was to take over this whole neighborhood. And they ended up taking over about 5 or 6 other homes right in this one neighborhood. Later, we were able to help the United Nations have a group come in and make them leave and give the homes back to the families. But they, you know, they put up the Israeli flags, and they'll talk about how patriotic they are while they're actually doing things that hurts Israel's image, you know. And another example is here, I'm at the home of an elderly family, and the settlers had been threatening them, and so the settler guys were taking eggs and throwing them at us and throwing them at the family, and here's the eggs splattering on the window, you know, and stuff. And they were threatening, you know, again, to kill us and stuff. But again, because we had the camera, because there was internationals, it helped change the dynamic with that. They put up signs like this when the UN had people there doing stuff. UN, unwanted nobodies, go home, you know. And one of the UN workers made the joke that, you know, you're the ones that need to go home. Well, he wasn't really joking, you know. It's like, why don't you go back to New York and leave these people here alone? This is a group of Palestinians that were on their way to work, to the stores, to universities, to all kinds of stuff. And the military came in, and because the settlers had been attacking people in this area, they come in and they formed a line and they wouldn't let people through. And so you can see how many people here just for hours and hours, I'm talking 10 or 12 hours, were detained from going on home. And again, this doesn't help people want to be friends with Israelis. This is the, you know, I mean, if you're a mother and you've got kids at home, you know, and here you are not allowed to go home. And then you have this guy up here on here yelling threats and pointing out stuff. I don't know what he was pointing out exactly there, but probably telling the other soldiers, go get this person and arrest them or something. But it's, you know, it's just part of the tension of everyday life. Here you are doing a normal everyday life, and all of a sudden you're left here in this crowd waiting for a chance to get back to your house and stuff. And then another thing with the settlers, this is from Hebron, and Hebron's, like I say, an ancient city with Abraham living there and stuff. And this is right around the corner from where our apartment is there. And the upper floors of this was homes for Palestinians, and then below is the market area, shops and stuff. So you might live up here on the second floor and then have a shop down on the ground floor. And so the settlers targeted some of these areas in the highest concentration of traffic areas and took over some of these houses and buildings up on the top floor. And so what they would do is Palestinians, and Hebron's a large city, as you would have hundreds of people going shopping, or hundreds of tourists passing through to go see Abraham's tomb and stuff, they started throwing rocks and just concrete, all kind of stuff down on people. And so the Palestinians put up these wire temporary mesh things, which doesn't stop all the rocks and stuff, and it doesn't stop spitting or even shooting. And then the Israeli military, pressure was put on them, you need to do something to stop this. So what they did is they put razor wire so the settlers couldn't come right down and throw stuff underneath the barrier and stuff, which, is like not a solution at all. And yeah, but it's that kind of thing that, is really crazy. This is a thing, and we'll show you pictures later of where Palestinian militants from Gaza, which is the most desperate place for people. It's the second most densely populated place in the world, and most Palestinians are not allowed to leave there or, do anything. So they're trapped in a very, very small area. In places, it's only like 7 miles wide. And so it's a very small area. And so some of the militants had made homemade rockets, and we'll show photos of those later, and had fired them into this area where there was a lot of Israeli settlers. And here's where one of the rockets hit the back window of a car. And I'm not justifying this. I mean, the rockets are wrong, and we stand against those and try to stop those too. But you can see that the damage, I mean, imagine if this was one of the Israeli military's rockets. The car wouldn't be there. But, it's that kind of damage that, it's part of the story.